Welcome to the official audio enthusiast tier list. I've selected 21 audio enthusiasts, or audiophiles, to rank them and see who's best and worst. Starting off with Precog Vision. The information he provides in his reviews is very surface level. Just shows a frequency response graph and says random things about it. The fact that the 64 Audio U12T is his favorite IEM says a lot. Although he's not completely terrible, so I'll put him in mostly useless. Metal 751 has some gaps in his logic, but he at least provides some useful information. B tier. Amir gets a lot of hate from the subjective crowd, but the information he provides is extremely useful, and he is very knowledgeable. However, I have seen him slip up a couple of times, so he goes in highly informative. Cheap Audio Man does nothing but waste your time, does not tell you anything useful. F tier. Although Crinical's measurements are pretty useful, you could basically say he's a janitor with a rig, but he does have a lot of useful information. The part that confuses me about Crinical is I can't tell if he's just trying to appease to his sponsors or not, because a lot of the things he says contradict each other. Maybe he really is highly informative, but the things he says in public make me put him in the somewhat useful tier. Olive's Gadgets once again is somewhat useful. There are gaps in his knowledge, but he does bring information to the table. Floyd Toole did what was considered unconceivable things for the audio world. Without him, we would be nowhere. God tier. DankPods, F tier. He literally provides nothing useful in his videos. This is the definition of an F tier person. DMS is completely useless. He shows a frequency response graph but does not actually tell anything relevant about it. The headphones he promotes are complete and utter dog shit. Golden Sound is useless too. All he does is talk about DAC amps endlessly. No one cares, no one should care, it does not matter, they all sound the same. GR Research is an interesting guy. He makes pretty good loudspeakers, but the things he says about cables, for example, are completely false. Since he is so conflicting and people do make better speakers than him, I'll put him in mostly useless. Steve Guttenberg, no explanation needed, F tier useless. Once again, a guy who just talks out of his ass and brings nothing to the table. Jay Iyagi, I don't even know what this guy does. He just talks about DACs and amps and is like, oh, the soundstage, the smoothness, the highs of the amplifier. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. No one cares, okay? F tier. Joshua Valor's opinions are not based on science, and he consistently misinforms his viewers. He does nothing but harm the audio community. New Record Day is another guy who just endlessly talks about DACs and amps, occasionally speakers, but provides nothing useful. Useless tier. Nova is probably the person who really got me into the hobby. Without him, I certainly would not be making headphone videos. He approached headphones from a microphone perspective, and he actually was able to hone in on a pretty good headphone. The DT990 with worn pads is respectable. Highly informative. Resolve, I honestly don't know what he does. He provides information about frequency response, but on the other end of the spectrum, he just talks about DACs and amps endlessly as well. Nevertheless, I'd put him in the somewhat useful tier. Scientific Audiophile is relatively new. The problem with him is that he is very knowledgeable, but there's too much satire in his videos. I honestly think he should just stop making cable videos. They're not going to help his channel grow. But his video on DMS was fantastic and absolutely ripped him apart. I'd put him in somewhat useful tier. John Yang 1997, the original Etymotic shill. This guy spreads Harman Target misinformation like nobody's business. He provides maybe 10% useful information, but the Etymotic shilling and not knowing anything about loudspeakers puts him in the mostly useless tier. Max Settings, I don't even know what this guy is doing. He just makes random videos whenever and loves the Sennheiser HD580 Precision for some reason. Since nothing in his videos is actually of any value, I'd put him in useless tier. The strange thing about Super Review is that he has a graph database but doesn't actually show the graphs in his videos. Like most people, he just talks out of his ass. In addition, he does not provide any useful target curves on his database. Useless. The real RSDs is one of the dumbest people I've ever met. He claims that a flat, raw frequency response is ideal. He does not even understand the concept of ear gain. He just talks about electrostatic headphones and makes up terms that mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely useless. Sean Olive, the undisputed king of headphones, obviously goes in S tier. The reason I put him behind Floyd Toole is because without Dr. Toole, we wouldn't have Sean Olive. Floyd Toole is the one who recruited him. Without the decades of loudspeaker research Floyd Toole dedicated his career to, we wouldn't even have the Harman headphone target. Z-Review's only reason for existence is to scam you and make money. Absolutely disgusting. F tier. And that concludes our audio enthusiast tier list. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, a comment, and join the Discord link below.